Hey, everybody! Happy 4th of July. It's me again, your host, Chaz. Adam will be on the way soon. Happy 4th again if you are here with us. I think it is just me at the moment, but I hope that we will see some people soon. It's good to see everyone. Good to be back. We took a little bit of a small break last week because Adam was busy and so was I. But I'm not busy today because it's the 4th of July and I had the day off, which is fantastic. I did not go out and barbecue because I am in Connecticut and it's very hot here. So I apologize for the fans going in the background and my AC going in the background, but it is flippin' hot. So that's kind of the situation for this evening. I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody is doing wonderful. Let me make sure that I get Adam on board so Adam can jump in too. Yeah, Star Wars. There's a lot going on. Kind of. Sorta. A little bit. We'll talk about it. There's been some stuff going on. I'll talk more about it when Adam gets on, but obviously there's been some talk recently about certain movies canceling, and then, then Disney said they're definitely not canceled, and then maybe they are. So it's kind of interesting what's going on right now because we don't know what the future of Star Wars might hold. The Han Solo movie definitely threw a wrench into things, and people seem to be a little bit thrown off now by the Star Wars universe. So not to mention, there's been a lot of stuff going on with fans. We talked about this almost twice in a row now, but I just read something the other day, or actually today, about let's jump into this new Starfighters here, this new mode here. Let's check this out real quick. But yeah, there was something going on about the guy who played Jar Jar Binks put up a tweet not too long ago about having contemplated suicide at one point in time. About a while back when the prequels came out, because of how much fan backlash he got, death threats and things like that. So I mean, obviously this whole terrible fandom thing isn't a new thing for Star Wars, but it's just a little frustrating because I don't understand it, as a Star Wars fan, why there's so much hate towards Star Wars. It doesn't quite make much sense to me. Again, I apologize for all the fans going in the background. It's so hot. I'm sweating. Even with stuff going on, I'm still sweating. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, I had a great 4th for the most part. I've been chilling, hanging out, just enjoying the day, really, hanging out with my kids, doing the whole dad thing, which is fun. So that's nice. But other than that, I've just been chilling. Adam had a little trouble on the way home from wherever he was to where he was going. I think he had a pop tire, but he's home. So I'm waiting for him to jump on. But we can chat and play while I wait. So what ship should we go with? I think we're going to go with Kylo Ren's ship. No, somebody took it. Darth Vader. Always go with Darth Vader. Let's see if I got any cards. Oh, I got some, but I don't have any. I gotta unlock them. I gotta get some skill points, which I will do this round. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully you guys are having a good 4th. I do not have any sort of whatever with me right now. So if you're watching and you're commenting, I hope I'll be able to respond. But my phone isn't with me, so that's usually I keep up with the comments. So I will eventually grab that though, so that way I can do that. Let's get into some Star Wars. That's my Star Wars voice for those of you who wanted to know. That's what I sound like when I'm excited about Star Wars. All right, let's check out this new hero mode. This is the first time I've tried it, so this should be fun. I guess I'm looking for other hero ships. I'm not bad at the flying part of Star Wars Battlefront 2, so let's see if I can. Let's see if I can get some points here before Adam jumps on. I apologize for that terrible accent. See, I feel like that was a good strategy. Hang back a little bit, let others engage, and now I'll go off now. Let's go ahead and send that out. Oh, the Falcon. The Falcon. Oh, he thinks he can outrun me. There it is. There it is. There it is. Take this bad boy down. Why won't it come down? Oh my god. How much health does this stupid thing have? It's like ridiculous. I'm definitely hitting him, right? Really? This is ridiculous. Hit him with it. Hit him with it! I am amazed at the amount of health that this Millennium Falcon has. I wonder if this is if they're the Chewy Millennium Falcon. I am like on this. There we go. Haagen-Dazs ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if we can go for another guy over here. Ooh. All right, I think I need to put some juice on this. Put some juice on this goose. I just made that up, and it's now going to be one of my favorite sayings. Oh, he's trying to go. He's trying to go in. He's trying to go in. Thinks I won't chase him. Ooh, I think that's Luke. I think that's my son. I think that's my son. Oh, wait, no. That's either Luke or it's, what's her name? Rose. Or, no, not Rose. Rose's sister. Oh, come on. Alright, let's sit this way. I hate when people just fly around in a circle to try to, like, avoid you. See? They're just flying, literally flying around in circles. Oh, there's Adam.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
Not bad, how are you?
Great.
How's your car?
No, it sucks.
Yeah. Oh, that blows. Did you do any, like, damage to, like, the wheel well or anything like that?
No, it's just gonna be expensive to get tires.
Yeah, tires are never cheap, and that's annoying.
Yep, it was great.
Did you get towed home?
No, I put a spare on it and drove it to my dad's because I have to work tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
He use his car for work. And
nice.
Then, yeah.
Nice. Fun times, huh? Fun times. Good times, great oldies.
So good. Yeah, cool 101.
Nice, dude. Alright, well, I haven't really talked about much so far. I've just been jabbering on about really nothing at all. Waiting for you. Like I was saying before you jumped on, happy holiday, everyone. Happy Independence Day. I usually have a little barbecue thingy, but it was really hot today, so I didn't do much myself. But I hope you guys had a good holiday, and there are some cool updates coming to Battlefront. Pretty soon, actually. There's one coming in July. Actually, I think that already happened. Maybe. I think that's what I'm playing right now. This like new battleship hero mode thing that I'm playing.
Yeah, Hero Starfighter. Yeah,
this is new, and I don't know if that was with this month's update or not. I'm gonna check right now. But there's a lot of cool updates coming, and some of them are bringing some characters along with them. But EA just released a little infographic saying when all the new stuff is going to be out, and like they're kind of releasing it in phases. It looks like. So yeah, that's really cool. I'll have to post that infographic to our page. But yeah, I saw a really weird, I don't know if you saw it, I saw this article today about the guy who played Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I posted that.
Oh, did you post it? Of course you posted it. That's always what happens. Like, I don't know how many times a day Amber, like, I'll say, like, oh, or, like, Amber will come in, like, oh, look at this hilarious video, or this or that, whatever, and it's always you who posts it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny because sometimes people will show me, they'll be like, hey, man, did you see this? And I'll be like, scroll up a little bit, look who shared it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Carly does that all the time.
That's so funny.
Show me anything anymore because she assumes it was me.
That you just posted it. Yeah, that's what happens. But Amber, like, it's so funny because I told her, I was like, you're like probably Adam's like biggest follower on Facebook. Every time you post something, she's like, did you see what Adam just posted? It's like it's always hysterical. But yeah, guys, I I guess Adam posted the article, and I read it, and it was, I won't get too into it, because we've talked about this a lot on the show, but I just thought it was crazy. Like, I just thought it was ridiculous, that the guy was getting, like, death threats, and I don't know. It's just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous. I think maybe, you know, coming from the era where, you know, when I was a kid, the prequels were out. And so Jar Jar Binks, I mean, the reason why George Lucas even put him in the movie is because he played well with kids, you know, or, I'm sorry, played well with kids, I guess, you know, yeah, exactly. So it was just kind of, you know, I guess coming from that time and being young, like, I never even thought to myself, like, all the things that some of the people think about Jar Jar Binks. He's not my favorite character, and it's not that, you know, but I'm not like some people who think he ruined the franchise or anything. And we've talked about Jar Jar on the show before, but we've been on for about a year now, so I can't even remember what episode to refer you to that we did that, because we've done a lot of them now. But yeah, I just think it's kind of, I don't know, man. I just think it's kind of messed up that that he was pushed, like, to even contemplating suicide because of how,
I mean, Star Wars
mean
fans
people are
toxic. Like, it's
getting bad, man. It's getting real bad now.
I mean, but it's been bad is the thing.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's been brutal for, you know, for a lot of years. I think just we kind of got, I don't know, we got a nice gap between movies. So I think that probably, you know, the trolls went back to their caves for a little while.
Yeah, they had nothing to complain about.
Now that there's movies again, it's,
yeah.
You know, they're just, I mean, they're assholes, and there's no real way to
oh yeah, it's disappointing. It's very disappointing, because most of the people I know who are my friends who are Star Wars fans are probably some of the best people that I know. And that has only slightly, you know, somewhat to do with the fact that they're Star Wars fans. I mean, that's just an added bonus. They're usually just good people, but still, you know, like, it's just, you know, I know plenty of people who have issues with, you know, things that have happened in Star Wars. I mean, I myself, you know, wasn't a big fan of The Last Jedi, but I have never once ever gone on anyone's Twitter page or whatever page, like put up some, like, first off, I don't think that Ryan Johnson or whoever is going to even read my tweet. Like, that's, like, the first thing. Like, it doesn't even matter, because I just feel like, why would you even read it? Like, why would you care? You made your money, so whatever. But then secondly, that's, like, a lot of time and effort to go through. Like, just, I don't know, write it in the journal or something and move on. Like, I think maybe that's the issue, is that people don't do enough journaling. That's the problem in this world today. People need to journal more.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the whole, I don't know. People's journals are internet now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's a very true
not
statement.
Having an audience, so it's just it's a different world. But even, you know, even when Ahmed Best was catching it, it was really right around the same time of the advent of this sort of
the internet.
Right.
Yeah, message boards and stuff like that.
At least this sort of use of the internet. So it's really I don't know, it's disappointing, but at the same time it's not surprising. It's just it sucks that he went through a lot of heavy stuff that I think a lot of us can relate to personally. And it's an emotional thing for him to have to go through, and it's crappy that it was incited by crappy people. Like, that's what makes me mad. It's less to do with the fact that he felt some sort of way at some point in his life, because that's, I don't know, like, that makes him relatable. That's something everyone goes through. Like, I get that. But the fact that it was instigated by really fat air quotes going up, but fans of something.
Oh yeah, really, I don't think. Yeah, definitely really not fans. Yeah, I mean, it sucks.
We already see it with Daisy, and Daisy deletes all of her social media, and then we see it with Kelly Marie Tran, and she deletes all of her social media.
Yeah, and then you have like, John Boyega. Yeah, you have, and exactly. Then you have John Boyega coming out and like having to defend people, and same thing with Mark Hamill having to come out and like defend his co-stars and things like that, and it's like, come on, man.
And
like,
John Boyega went through it himself, so I mean, it's,
exactly.
It's really,
that's true. Yeah, he did. He really did, and that
really,
sucks.
It's an ugly side of things, and I mean, we know, like, the dude who plays Wedge has been saying for 50 years how much he hates Star Wars. And it's all because of the fans. And Ewan McGregor went through a long time where he hated it.
Oh yeah, Christian. What's his name? I can never remember his name. Hayden Christensen. Yeah, I love Anakin Skywalker. I know that he had moments in the prequels, whatever. We won't even get to that because I know that some people feel so strongly about his performance in the prequels. Whatever you may feel about him, I love Anakin as a character, and it just really sucks that Hayden Christensen stayed away from Star Wars conventions and all that kind of stuff because he just didn't want to be around the fans because of how terrible they would treat him. It's just that really sucks because I love Anakin and would love to have a chance to meet Hayden Christensen but he's never going to be at D23. I think he was at the Star Wars Celebration last year, but that's the first one he showed up to in a long time, and he's been invited to a lot of them. But yeah, it was a big deal. But it was amazing to see him. But yeah, it sucks that has to happen. But in other Star Wars news, the other thing I want to talk about today was I thought it was really interesting. I'm having trouble finding the thread of this narrative now with the whole Han Solo movie possibly pushing back these other side movies that were supposed to be coming out, and now I heard and again it's hard to find the thread because, and just as an example, they're I guess it's not the best example in the world as a credible source, but just as an example, IGN, literally one day they post an article that says Disney putting all this stuff on hold. And then the next day they put an article out saying, Disney says that they're not going to put this stuff on hold. And I kid you not, literally 2 days after that, they put out an article that says Disney's definitely going to put this stuff on hold. So I'm like, what's happening?
I don't even follow them anymore. I mean, they're reposts. So they just repost buzzwords and algorithms basically calculate, what to post for them.
Right.
And it becomes basically every other non-news website out there. But
exactly.
IGN lost me a while ago, and I think I told you a couple weeks ago, at this point I don't read anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I figure if we see a trailer, that means there's a movie coming.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's the best way to know, really, I guess.
Yeah, I don't care what they do as long as they do it what they think is right. You know what I mean? And
right.
I think that's what they did with Last Jedi. I think they did what they thought was right, regardless of how people feel about The Last Jedi. I don't think that's really something you could argue. And I think that's how I wish they would do everything. I don't think they did that with Solo so much. I think they did what they thought they had to with Solo, and they did some things that I wouldn't have done, and they did things in different time frames than I'm sure they wanted to, and things like that. And at the end of the day, Solo, went through some struggles, but I don't think that Solo's lack of blockbuster success has as much to do with anything getting delayed as we might think.
Yeah.
I think if we don't see something come out, when we originally thought we were going to see something come out for Kenobi movie or whatever it might be, I don't think that Solo's lack of box office success is the
cause of that.
Is the main factor behind that. Yeah.
And then along with this whole misinformation type thing that's going on with Star Wars, I also saw and I didn't get a chance to read in depth in it at all, and it surprised me though. But I also saw that Kathleen Kennedy might be thinking about leaving Lucasfilm, which was very surprising.
She might be stepping down in general. That's not that new. That
was
originally discussed last year, but
oh, see, I didn't know that.
Again,
I don't remember reading about that.
The misconception is that it has anything to do with Solo. I think a lot of people who boycotted Solo are really stoked, or they feel responsible in some way for either her leaving or for Kenobi or whatever might be next getting delayed.
Yeah.
But in reality, like I said, Disney didn't even feel Solo not making that much money.
Yeah, and
tickle them. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know why we would you know.
Yeah, you know, I think also.
And honestly, it just perpetuates the narrative that boycotts affect anything, which is just not true. I mean, the world as a machine is going to run with or without humans at this point.
Yep.
Star Wars is part of that.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, you make a good point. Like, no, Solo did not make that much. I'm sorry, Solo made a decent amount of money, but it didn't hit the numbers that people expected it to hit. You know, I think that's what it is. We don't put things into a perspective either, because it's not like Solo made no money. It's like you know, Disney didn't see any cash at all from that. I mean, I bought several toys myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, we forget about that kind of stuff. Like, ticket sales are one thing, and that's fine. But like, let's talk about the whole situation. Like, Disney's fine, and then on top of that, let's not forget that same month they put out. You know, what, 2 other movies, I think? So it's like,
right.
oh no, so it's kind of like, yeah, they didn't lose anything. And one of those was like one of the biggest movies in a while.
Ever.
I mean, yeah, so it's like, I think they're fine. Like, Disney, I don't think that I think it's more about, and I feel this genuinely, I think it's more about the fact that they are moving things around or switching things around. Like, it's more about the fact of like doing the fans a favor, and maybe they understand like, hey, maybe fans just do need some more time between movies. You know, I don't think it's a monetary thing at all. I think that it has more to do with management, maybe, and maybe it has more to do with, hey, we want to put more effort into this film, so let's push this one back, let's move this one around. And also, the thing is that, and we've said this before, Star Wars itself is so overly scrutinized that we need to have every single little detail. When other studios do this, you know, they say like, all right, we need to shift this, we need to move this, we need to, you know, this movie was going to be slotted for this time, but now we got to move it because we're going to do this instead. Like, it literally happens all the time. But because it's Star Wars,
and Disney, we mentioned this months ago, but Disney has been unusual in that they released, for some reason, what they're doing like down to the month detail for the next 10 or 15 years for Star Wars and for Marvel. So when something little happens that wouldn't be a big deal in any other time or to any other business, it's a huge deal to them because they're the ones who release that information. That's the whole reason you don't have to say anything. Like, if you know your plans, that's enough. You don't have to share them with the world, because if they alter even slightly for the most benign of reasons, people are going to blow it up. But I don't think that they're doing anything for the fans. I do think it's a decision motivated by money. I just don't think it's a decision motivated by money in the way that people think it is.
Right.
I think that the people who think that, you know, Solo didn't make any money, so Disney's not going to make more movies for Star Wars, that's not the case. I think if anything, Disney looked at a bunch of spreadsheets and said, okay, if we release it here instead of here, it will make more money. So I don't think it has anything to do with, you know, Solo being unsuccessful or less successful than anticipated. I don't think it has to do with trying to calm down angry neckbeards. I don't think it has anything to do with making good fans happy. I think it has everything to do with, all right, if we release it in August of this year instead of February of this year, not that they would release a movie in either of those months, but if they did that, then that's their whole shindig. They don't care otherwise. They don't care what we think, and they don't care what the haters think either. But if they cared what we think, they would, by definition, have to care what the haters think too. And I don't think they care about either.
No, that's very true. You're right. At the end of the day, for them, it's more probably about the bottom line and how is it going to work when, you know, if we release this movie. But like I said, you know, we see these, or I should more accurately say we don't see these things happen all the time because it's so commonplace for studios to do. But like you said, and you were right about that, like they did it for the Marvel movies too, and maybe that's why they did it for the Star Wars movies, you know, because they did it for the Marvel movies as well. So they're like, that's just kind of Disney's thing now to like lay out a timeline. I never have been a fan of it, to be quite honest. Like, even with the Marvel movies, I kind of found it
like a spoiler. Like if you see, it's the same thing that, like, when you see somebody you see somebody's contract and you're like, okay, Tom Holland's gonna play Peter Parker in 6 Marvel movies, and then like if something, I mean, you go into a movie and you know that no matter what, he's going to survive that movie.
Yep.
And
so plot, you get, you're right. So any plot twist, any whatever, like you're like, oh, he's gonna be fine because they booked him for 6 other movies.
Right. So it's really, and same thing with the timeline. If they say in 5 years there's a Winter Soldier movie, then you may as well not watch Winter Soldier at all now because you know he's gonna survive. So there's no real drama there. And it's just, I don't know, it takes away a lot of the magic part of it.
Yeah, I agree. My biggest thing was like when Marvel first, did it and then Star Wars did it, my only thing was like, I like being surprised by trailers. Like, I like going to the movie and be like, oh crap, Ant-Man's coming out. Like, or, oh crap, this movie's coming. Like, awesome, this is amazing. Right. Like, this is really cool. Like, I just kind of enjoy that surprise factor, I guess. And it just feels like it's like we know up until like 2022, like what we're going to be watching. And even though that's great, it's just like, I don't know, it's nice to have the surprise of like I don't know, I just feel like instead of announcing Black Panther and saying like, hey, a Black Panther movie's on its way, like it would have been cool to see the Black Panther in Civil War, and then all of a sudden getting like a trailer, when you went to go see, I can't even think of it, like maybe another Star Wars, and you saw the trailer for Black Panther. That I would have freaked out. But right. Already knowing that it's coming, you're like, oh, here's the trailer that we've been expecting. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is behind that, because I am in no way, in shape or form, qualified to do anything that has to do with marketing. But right. I'm sure there is a strategy behind it somehow. I don't know. You're right. I don't know how it benefits.
No, there is, and it's that the world craves what we don't anymore, and that's viral marketing. We don't want that personally, but that doesn't mean that that's not the popular choice. I think that that's what everyone expects at this point. So like, I mean, trailers are a good example of it, but you would, I don't know how to. Like, even if you were waiting to see a trailer in the theater, you would still see it on, like, IMDb or YouTube or something like that.
Right.
Months before, anything real was happening. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to change, and I don't think people want it to. I think that the schedule of releasing is something Disney does that not a lot of people do. DC did it, I remember, but not a lot of people do that whole, these are the movies we're making for the next 15 years and exactly when they're coming out. That just seems
to the month. Exactly.
To me, counterintuitive, but who knows?
But maybe again, and I mean, this is like their case. This is Disney's case for a lot of different situations. It seems like Disney can just do things that other people just can't, or other businesses that can't, because they're just so big, and they have titles that just like you're gonna bring people in. Like there's no way you're not going to bring people in with some of the titles that they own, and now they just picked up Fox, so it's like that's that. You know what I mean? Like it's over now. Like Disney owns it all. Which is, I mean, it's, some people don't like that. I mean, that's, that was one other thing I did want to talk about, was the acquisition of Fox by Disney. Not that it has much to do with Star Wars. I just think it's interesting. Because
it actually does have a lot to do with Star Wars, because Fox owns the rights to the unaltered original trilogy. Yes,
that's right. Maybe we'll get that released finally.
Disney couldn't make that Blu-ray a couple years ago. So that's about it, but that's what it has to do with Star Wars.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's really interesting in other sense, because they picked up a lot of Fox owns a lot. I mean, they do a lot. So they picked up a lot of different titles, I guess I should say. I keep wanting to say IP because my brain thinks video game. They just picked up a new IP, but that's not the right term at all. But so it's just interesting because now, like, what they have Deadpool, they have all the mutants now, the X-Men, which is pretty cool. So it'll just be interesting to see what they do with that. What will go to streaming services, what will go to theater, what we will see on TV, it's not just, I think we always just think, movies, but...
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of, like Bob's Burgers is now a Disney property. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that is really, it's the elite of the elite controlling every bit of our consumption.
Yeah, some people. Yeah, to put a little more cynically. I don't know. Hey, how's it going? Just check the comments. Hello, new friend. Follow, subscribe, and we have like thank you for being. You're new. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming. We do play with people sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Either way, yeah. So I think for the most part, it's. I don't know. I know some people don't like that Disney is taking over like so much. I don't know how I feel about it because I like Disney so much. I love so much of what they do.
About it, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's like spitting into the wind. There's no point. I mean,
I feel like it was inevitable at a certain point in time, you know. Yeah, I feel like as big as Disney's been for as long as they've been around, I just felt like it was inevitable eventually for them to start, you know, collecting up all these other, especially now it seems like big businesses are getting bigger, if that makes any sense. So it's like, you know, these like Apple, Facebook, whatever, like they're these huge companies, but they're like just getting Amazon, I think, is the perfect example of that. What I'm trying to think of, where like this company that started as this guy just like, I just want to get people books shipped to them quickly.
Right, yeah.
Now they literally like are picking up different businesses in markets left and right. You know, they own food, what's it called now, right? The food place, Whole Foods. I almost said wholesale. I don't know why I said that. Whole Foods they own. That's crazy. Like, but that's like the perfect example. Like, businesses just seem to be getting larger and larger and larger, even though they've already like some of the biggest businesses around. And Disney is no stranger to that at all. Especially, well, I mean,
they haven't been for years.
Yeah,
it's just.
Yeah, I just feel like when they picked up Lucasfilm, like that was the. I mean, obviously, like, you know, they've had a lot of big ones, but when they picked up Lucasfilm, I just felt like that was such a big shift in how things were going, because it's like, man, they just picked up this huge, like, Star Wars is huge, Indie is huge, you know what I mean? Like, these are huge, you know, not IPs, you know, properties, so... Yeah, they're properties. So
IPs.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. I don't know. In some ways, it's depressing, but in other ways, it's just like the sky is blue. Like it's not even like something to think about because it's.
It is what it is at this point. Yep, it is what it is. And the only other thing I want to talk about before we go is I thought it was really funny. It's not near. It's not. You know. It's speaking of just things being are what they are, and it just is what it is. I think it's hilarious that these group of fans. I don't know if you read this manifesto that this group of fans put together, but they put together like, you know, this petition or whatever, and then they wrote their like own declaration basically of independence, like from from Disney somehow. Like it was really funny. Like I was just like reading it and I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen, because what executive at Disney is gonna be like, you guys, we got to do something about it. Like they wrote a whole thing out, guys, like this is bad news. Like I know like nothing else made us change, but this is really what's going to turn us around. I'm just like, oh my god. The fact that people went through that much effort and time, and reading it was very funny. It was just, you know, it was really just silly. Like, oh, you know, we as Star Wars fans declare that, you know, even though like you tried to do these things, that you failed miserably, and we are now like declaring our whatever from the Disney, like, it's like, oh my god.
Like, someone made this up, so if you can do it better, go make something else up. Like,
yes.
That's the difference between now and then, is like, in the 70s or 80s, somebody watched a sci-fi movie and thought it was stupid, they would just make a better sci-fi movie.
Yes.
But now we have people that have no merit and no value. no traits that are positive. Oh my god,
yeah.
Like, and contribute to the world in any way, and instead of realizing that and shutting up like they should, they're given this machine that can communicate with satellites in a split second, and they use it to be loud. And I think that it's just sad. People need to go outside and read a book once in a while.
It was really entertaining. Like, it was legitimately entertaining, because I just thought to myself, like, this is a little far. Like, you know, I get, at what point in time do you just no longer like something? Like, when does that happen? When it's just like you just have to say to yourself, I guess I just don't like Star Wars anymore. Like, you just eventually
you
might
a sense of entitlement, and they think that their fandom means more than someone else's creativity, and I just don't get that.
I feel like
your fandom wouldn't exist if not for someone else's creativity.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's such a great point.
It's the same thing with like bands and like Weezer goes through that a lot, where like sometimes, I mean, I'm a huge Weezer fan, just as big as it gets, and there are times where I have to remove myself from conversations because so-called self-proclaimed fans are nasty for the sake of being nasty. And like, I get not liking something personally, but I don't get why we need to share that opinion. And there's something in the world, something in the water that makes us feel this need to spread negativity instead of just shutting up and not watching something that we don't like. And
oh yeah, definitely.
But like I said, the creativity that you're bashing is the whole reason you have the opportunity to bash it in the first place.
Yeah, fandom.
So do something better yourself, or stop.
Yeah, fandom isn't ownership. You know, like that's what I think fans get confused by. Like, being a fan of something does not mean you own that thing. And I think we become fans of something, and you know what, I will say, like, Star Wars is a massive part of my life and has been for a very long time, to the point where it's almost a part of my everyday life, you know, whether it be just the fact that my kitchen is all Star Wars, or my son is named Finn, or just, like, whatever. I mean, it's been ingrained into my everyday situation. So I'm not one of these people who, like, just like, you know, a casual fan. Not at all. So, you know, I get some of the frustrations with the movie, with this, with that, with the other, especially when you talk to, like, old heads and they're like, oh, you know, the prequels ruined everything, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get some of what you're saying, but at the same time, I just don't understand how you don't just love it with all your... Because there's never a point in time where I'm like, oh my god, this makes me angry, like, I'm mad about this, to a point where I need to, like... Because I always love it. Like, it's Star Wars. Right. You know, it's like,
if your kid did something that you didn't want him to do, he's not like all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. You don't go on the message boards and you're like, "Fuck my kid." sorry, guys. Yeah, you don't go on the message board. You're like, "Screw my freaking kid." Like,
if your kid's like wears a shirt that you don't like, you're not like, "Oh, guess I have to get a new kid." Like, you're just like, if anything, you kind of love that you created something that has the decision to be different from yourself.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we forgot about Star Wars. Is like Rian Johnson. That's
such a good analogy.
Was originally about, and Rian Johnson did that. He went how none of us would have gone with Last Jedi.
He opened up his toy box and he played just like we used to.
Exactly. And we, for some reason, saw that not as a reason to dislike the movie, but to like disrespect him and disrespect Star Wars and like creative forces in the world. And I that disconnect is real, but I mean, it's just whatever at this point. I'll enjoy it, and I'll let haters not enjoy it.
And that's the thing, is like, you know, it stinks now that most times, it's really unfortunate, most forums or pages or whatever, what have you, that I'm going to now are more about Star Wars fans either being toxic or this or that or the other, or like some change in Disney that might affect the Star Wars movie, or negative stuff about Solo. Like, it's because I feel like we've come into this new realm of Star Wars fandom where it's kind of shifting a little bit and changing somewhat. Like, it's like not as positive as, like, I don't know, like, I just want everyone to just go watch the movie Fanboys. Adam introduced that movie to me, and I literally watch it maybe like once a month. I love that movie so much, dude. Like, it's become my favorite film. And it's just because, like that feeling, right? Like, of just, you love it, and you would like go on this crazy road trip.
It's a shared experience too.
Exactly.
It's like a camaraderie. But we, at the same time as having a shared experience, we all have a different connection to it, and it means something different to everybody. But like, I mean, I'm not saying Star Wars has to be your thing. I'm just saying, like, don't be afraid if it's not to stop, because like,
exactly.
You know, Harry Potter's like that in a lot of ways too, where again, people have their own connection to it. It means literally the world to some people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Their world would be shattered without it, and that's, you know, there's no disrespect there, but it means something different to everybody. And when somebody, you know, has an opinion or an experience that isn't a shared one, then people freak out. And I don't understand why we can't just be vulnerable and humble and open ourselves up to a little bit of maybe there's things that are bigger than me out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we we also just live in a world where if we don't agree on something, then you're wrong. It's not like we just disagree. Like, it's just we just have different opinions. It's just the other person is wrong.
With real life opinions that you cannot abide, and that exists.
For sure.
I think that the lines between that and someone who doesn't like Star Wars versus someone who does like Star Wars, those lines have gotten blurred.
Yes.
And because like in the real world right now, if somebody has an opinion that's different from mine, in a lot of ways they're probably objectively a bad person.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
We're never going to get along. So
yeah, that's a great point. There's a big difference between being like.
It's hard to turn that off. It's hard to go from that feeling of when you're walking down the street, thinking about how you would have to react if something happened around you in that moment.
Right.
And then going home and watching Star Wars and listening to people hate on it loudly.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to turn off that part of your brain and let them be them.
Yeah.
And you can't do that out in the real world anymore.
Yeah.
And that might have something to do with it too.
I will say this, Amber introduced me to a page on Facebook, the Office Superfans group. I'm a huge fan of The Office. It's like probably one of my favorite shows of all time. That goes without saying, but it's probably one of the most wonderful groups that I've ever been a part of. Like, people disagree, and you have these long discussions, but it's always like these like people are actually talking. It's not like you're just wrong. You're wrong. You like I'm going to attack you personally as a person because I don't like you.
Becomes difficult to enjoy, but there's groups like that. It's just they're not as common as they need to be.
Yeah, they're not. And if you can find, and there's always, and I should say, like, that does come with a grain of salt, because there always is that one person in the group who's just like, terrible. But I will say, for the most part, it's just, we've said it before. There's just the minority is always seem to be the loudest, which is kind of frustrating. But I just thought it was interesting that people wrote that thing up. I just think it's weird. But I just think there's too much. I say all of this to say, I want to talk about all of this stuff, business-wise and whatever, with Carrie Fisher and all this tonight, because I want to say all this to say we need to try to get into a different zone with Star Wars. We need to get back to, where we were when we were talking about, I remember being a kid and hanging out with, not even a kid, I wasn't that young, but, hanging out with, like, Chris Croce and Miles and whatever, and, we're just sitting, chilling, whatever, and we start talking about, like, the prequels and whatever, and lore, and getting into all this, like, crazy stuff, and what would happen if, Boba Fett didn't die, and actually did, like, get himself out of the Starlight Pit. Would he go back for, Luke? Would he go back for Han? Like, what would he, stupid stuff like that, where you're talking about, like, the fun and the enjoyment, and, like, and losing yourself in it again, instead of being like, how much money did Solo make? Are the actors doing this or that or the other? Like, what's going on with the director? Like, I want to talk about Star Wars. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about all the things that are around Star Wars. I want to talk about the actual, Star Wars, the lore, the characters, like how much they, I can relate to some of them, how little I can relate to some of them. The worlds, the ships, the aliens, some of the animals, like, even someone like, if you're going to Felucia, or however you pronounce it, I'm probably saying it wrong, but those big crazy flowers that came up in whatever, I know we didn't see much of it in the movies, but if you played any of the games, we did go there, and it was probably one of my favorite planets of all time. But stuff like that, I just feel like people aren't talking about Star Wars like they used to, because the world's just become so much more about
it's just a cynical place.
Being cynical and things like that. So that being said, I want to say, coming back next week, that's what I want to get back to, because I feel like I'm getting dragged into, because what I do is, like, Tuesday or Monday, I'll go through articles and see, all right, what's going on, what can we talk about this week, and lately this is what it's been, so next week we're going to get back to what we should be doing, which is talking about the lore and the fun stuff behind Star Wars. So what I want to do is go revisit next week. We're going to revisit The Last Jedi. So over the week, I'm going to try to watch it again. We're going to revisit The Last Jedi, and we're going to talk about that again. And I want to talk a little bit more about the role of, I really like to talk more about the role of how the Force and the Skywalker family and this whole lineage is been weaved through from, the prequels all the way up to now, and how it's changed and how it's shifted, because I feel like there's so much more we can talk about. So we're going to get back to what we need to do, guys, and talk about Star Wars instead of talking about all this other nonsense. It's garbage, it's just garbage. And I don't want to be one of those sites or one of those things where, every time
it's
you
one of the
hear
reasons
us,
we started doing this in the first place, is to have an escape from that part of the world and talk about something that, we love.
Exactly. And it's slowly crept into what we're doing, and like I said, that's just because, like I said, the way I go about getting ready for the show, I just try to want to talk about. It's just the world, and it's frustrating. It really is. But guys, next week we're definitely going to be talking about some cool stuff from The Last Jedi. So if you guys have any comments about the movie, how you felt about it, specifically pertaining to how the Force was portrayed in the movie, we're going to be talking a little bit about that next week. So it should be fun. Again, happy 4th. I hope you guys had a good day. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Follow us on, Twitter. I want our Instagram going back up, but I haven't talked to Jared in forever, so I need to get in touch with that fool.
He might be on next week. He's had a lot going on.
He's getting married soon, right?
Yeah, he's had a lot going on. His personal life has been crazy. His job has been crazy.
Okay,
he might be on if you're at all available over the weekend to play like Fortnite or something.
Okay,
he might be able to play a little bit. I'll shoot you a text, but he might be on next week. I just don't know. His job is insane.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, honestly, things have been a little crazy on my end too, and I know you work just as much as I do, and you got the kid, and you have a wife, so you have a whole separate relationship that you have to try to take care of.
She's crazy,
yeah, of course. so yeah, I mean, we're all just busy, but we still do this somehow. We still manage to come together and get this done almost every week. We were kind of iffy because he was gone, and then
I've never missed 2 in a row.
Yeah, that's rare.
2 in general.
That's rare.
It felt weird missing 2, but I'm glad to be back, and I don't plan on missing anymore.
Nice, man. But yeah, guys, so we'll see you soon. Like I said, next week on Wednesday. We're at the same time, 8 o'clock. Thank you for some of the new followers we got tonight. That was really cool. It's been a bit, because we've had like a pretty core base of people who kind of check in on us, so it's nice to see people are still joining new and commenting, and like I said, if you're still listening, gentlemen who commented earlier, we do play with other people, but that's usually like reserved for like the weekend type thing, like when we jump on the weekend and we just kind of want to do like a
casual stream.
Yeah, just a casual like shred session, then we'll jump on, and then we'll we can invite you guys to come play with us, and that's typically when we'll do that. But during Wednesdays, it's really more about the discussion and joining in through comments and talking about that. But yeah, thanks for joining us. And like I said, if you're new, this is what we do every week. We play Star Wars, we talk about it, and next week we're going to talk about The Last Jedi. So watch it and comment. But we'll see you guys then. Bye.